Imagine a world where death is no longer final. In 2019, Yale scientists shocked the world by reviving cellular activity in pig brains hours after death. What does this mean for our definition of life? And could it change the future of humanity? This isn't science fiction. It's a real experiment, published in the journal Nature and covered by Wired and other major outlets. For the first time, researchers blurred the line between life and death at the cellular level. If brain cells can be revived after hours without blood or oxygen, what else is possible? Could we one day bring back memories, consciousness, or even people themselves? Tonight, we dive into the science and the ethics of brain reanimation. The story begins at Yale University, where neuroscientist Cessation led a groundbreaking team. Their goal? To see if brain cells could be revived after death, challenging everything we thought we knew. The team obtained 32 pig brains from a slaughterhouse, hours after the animals were killed. The brains were connected to a system called BrainEx, a network of pumps, heaters, and oxygenators. BrainEx circulated a custom solution mimicking blood throughout the brain's vessels. This solution was designed to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and drugs to prevent swelling and cell death. For 6 hours, the system pulsed artificial blood through the pig brains. Researchers monitored electrical activity, metabolism, and cell health in real time. The results were astonishing. Cells in the brains started to show signs of life. Neurons fired weak electrical signals. Some synapses, the connections between neurons, even responded to stimulation. The brains consumed oxygen and glucose, just like living tissue. Cells removed waste products and repaired some damage. Importantly, the brains did not show organized electrical activity, no signs of consciousness. But the restoration of cellular function was unprecedented. Previously, it was believed that brain cells die within minutes of oxygen deprivation. This experiment proved that under the right conditions, some functions can be revived hours later. The researchers were careful to avoid any chance of awakening consciousness. They added drugs to the solution to block neural firing. Their goal was to study cell survival, not to create a living brain. The BrainEx system itself was a marvel of bioengineering. It maintained temperature, pH, and pressure, simulating the environment of a living body. This allowed the team to observe how different brain regions responded to restoration. The experiment was repeated multiple times for consistency. Each time, the results held, cellular activity could return, even after death. The implications were staggering. What does this mean for neuroscience? First, it challenges the long-held belief that brain death is immediate and irreversible. If brain cells can survive hours without blood, our understanding of death must evolve. This opens new doors for brain injury research. Doctors may one day use similar techniques to treat stroke or trauma victims. Restoring blood flow and nutrients could minimize long-term damage. It also has implications for organ transplantation. Currently, organs are harvested quickly to avoid irreversible brain damage. If brain tissue can be preserved longer, it could revolutionize transplant medicine. The experiment also offers insight into how the brain responds to injury. By observing revived cells, scientists can study the earliest stages of damage and repair. This could lead to new treatments for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Some researchers believe BrainEx could help map brain circuits in unprecedented detail. By restoring function to specific regions, scientists can study how networks communicate. This could unlock secrets of memory, learning, and consciousness itself. But the experiment raises as many questions as it answers. Why did some cells recover while others did not? How long after death can meaningful recovery occur? Could this technology be used to pause the brain, preserving it for future revival? What about the risk of restoring unwanted or harmful activity? The scientific community is just beginning to grapple with these possibilities. With great power comes great responsibility. The BrainEx experiment forced ethicists and lawmakers to confront new questions. If we can restore brain function after death, what does it mean to be dead? Traditionally, death is defined by the irreversible loss of brain activity. But if that activity can return, is death truly final? Should the definition of brain death be revised? Hospitals and families may face impossible choices. If a loved one's brain can be revived, should we try? What if consciousness returns, but personality or memory does not? There are fears about partial reanimation, brains that are alive but not conscious. Would these brains experience pain or distress? How can we ensure their welfare? The Yale team took precautions, but future experiments might not. Could someone try to revive a whole brain, risking the return of consciousness? What rights would such a brain have? Legal experts warn that current laws may be unprepared for these scenarios. Who owns a revived brain? Could it be considered a person, a patient, or just tissue? Religious and cultural beliefs about death may also be challenged. Some traditions see death as a sacred transition. Science is now blurring that boundary. There's also the risk of brain hacking, using technology to manipulate or control revived brains. Could memories be altered, erased, or implanted? The ethical landscape is fraught with unknowns. In 2022, the same Yale team unveiled OrganX, a follow-up system used to revive circulation and cell function across the entire body. Unlike BrainEx, which focused on isolated brains, OrganX showed similar restoration in organs like the heart, liver, and kidneys. This suggested that post-mortem revival might extend beyond the brain. OrganX also used a perfusate, a specially formulated fluid, to restart circulation hours after death. Pig bodies that had been clinically dead for over an hour showed restored cellular function. Again, researchers blocked consciousness, focusing only on cellular revival. The implications of OrganX are vast. It could transform organ donation, extending the window for transplants. It could also reshape emergency medicine and the future of end-of-life care. Brain reanimation is not a new idea. In the 1800s, scientists like Luigi Galvani experimented with animal electricity, making frog legs twitch after death. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was inspired by these early efforts. In the 20th century, Soviet researchers tried to revive decapitated dog heads using primitive pumps. These gruesome experiments shocked the world, but laid the groundwork for modern neuroscience. The dream of reversing death has haunted humanity for centuries. Cryonics, the freezing of bodies or brains for future revival, remains a fringe pursuit. But BrainEx brings the idea closer to reality. Unlike cryonics, BrainEx restores function at normal temperatures without freezing. Throughout history, advances in resuscitation have changed our definition of death. CPR and defibrillators can bring people back from the brink. Now, brain reanimation may push that boundary even further. Science fiction has long imagined the possibilities. From The Matrix to Black Mirror, stories explore the ethical and existential risks. Today, those stories are inching closer to fact. Public reaction to the BrainEx news was a mix of awe and anxiety. Some hailed it as a miracle of science. Others feared the consequences of playing God. The debate continues in scientific journals, newsrooms, and dinner tables worldwide. Is brain reanimation a triumph or a Pandora's box? Only time will tell. Where do we go from here? BrainEx and OrganX are just the beginning. Researchers are already planning new experiments with longer time frames and more complex brains. Ethical guidelines will be crucial as the science advances. International committees are drafting rules to protect both subjects and society. Transparency and public dialogue are essential. Some dream of using brain reanimation to treat devastating injuries or diseases. Others warn of the dangers of crossing ethical lines. The balance between hope and caution will shape the future. One thing is certain: The line between life and death is no longer as clear as it once was. Science has given us the power to challenge nature's final frontier. It's up to us to decide how and whether to use it. Will we one day revive lost memories, personalities, or even people? Or will we learn that some boundaries are better left uncrossed? The answer lies at the intersection of science, ethics, and the human spirit. For now, the story of brain reanimation is still being written. Each new discovery brings wonder and new dilemmas. And as we push the limits of what's possible, we must never forget to ask, not just can we, but should we?